Zoning Commission Wednesday, July 15th, 2020 meeting called to order. Start off with the introductions of the commission members. I'm John Emery.
Mike Clayton.
Ruth Holstrom.
Doug Regeller.
Anupreet Minhas.
Okay, that looks to be it. Now the approval of the minutes for the May 20th meeting, 2020. Do anybody have any comments?
This is Doug. I'll move approval.
I'll second. Ruth Holstrom, I'll second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those disapprove say nay. So approved. Okay. Next up is a public forum for anything that is not on the agenda for this evening. Do we have any comments from the public?
We do have to. Natalie's telling me that we have to approve the agenda.
Oh, do we have approval for? Do we have a approval for the minutes, or not the minutes, the agenda for this meeting?
Clayton, move.
I would second. Ruth Holstrom.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. So approved. Okay, the public forum is next. Does anybody have any comments that are pertain to anything not on the agenda?
Let me just make sure there's nobody waiting. We do have. Hang on, we just had a phone number up on. Let me make sure. Phone number ending in 701.
This is Carol. I've been having technology issues.
All right. Welcome.
Okay, Carol, we're up to number 5. We're still waiting to see if anybody has anything for the public forum. Do you want to take over now?
I'll be happy to. Thank you.
Okay.
Do we have any other folks?
We do not.
Okay, then I guess we close the public forum. And we have a public hearing for the integrated site plan for 3619 Stang Road. Do we have anyone representing the requesters of this site plan change?
Yes, we do. We have one of the developers, and we have the engineer.
Okay, we'd like to hear from them just to give us an overview, and then have staff present the item. Would that be acceptable?
Yeah, let me just two things really quickly. I should introduce myself because I've never met any of you.
I don't recognize your voice.
I'm the new planner, relatively new, and my name is Benjamin Campbell, and yes, hello. And the other thing that I have to tell you all is an apology because I neglected to post a sign for this application. So we sent out notices as we are required to by code, did not post a sign, which the code does require. And so technically we cannot hold a public hearing tonight. We can present the case to you all But we would go to hold the public hearing, but we would have to redo it if we did. And so, again, I sincerely apologize. That is on me. I did want to ask before we began something to consider, because we have Zoom, because we have technology, if it is possible. I realize that you are all doing this on a volunteer basis and not you're not being compensated for it in any way, but to do this, to have another meeting that we could schedule again to hold the public hearing prior to our council meeting on the 28th, which would keep the applicant on the schedule that staff had promised.
This is Doug. That I can make that work.
We lose Carol again?
So Benjamin, this is Anuya.
Yes.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hello.
Welcome to the city.
Thank you.
I think my take would be that since the publication has not been done on site, like the publication has not been completed, maybe we should go through that before holding the hearing at all. So I would be okay with not having a presentation today, but doing it at an alternate date that as you're suggesting. That would be my take. What date are you thinking of holding the additional meeting? You said 28th is the council meeting that we need to meet before.
Correct. Yes.
So what dates are we looking at?
I'm looking at my calendar right now. Would a week from today or sooner work for the?
If we meet on Tuesday of next week, does that give you adequate time to take the decision from the commission and put it in the documents that you need to send out to council?
On Tuesday of next week?
Yeah.
I believe that should give us enough time. Yes.
Okay.
Benjamin, this is, oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
I just wanted to ask with Benjamin, this is Ruth Holstrom.
Yes.
Is the signage posted now for the property?
It is.
Or how much?
No.
It is not. So how much time per code prior to the public hearing does the sign need to be posted?
Code says. It does not give a specific time, but I realized it. I'm reviewing my staff report right before this meeting that this was the case.
Okay, so
There's not
I
a
guess
specific.
Ruth, what you're probably trying to get at is what is the earliest date that we
Yeah.
can hold?
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Do you
Per
sense
what
of-
the requirement.
Do you have a sense of what that earliest date then is, Benjamin?
Whatever works for you. I'm sure that I can make work.
No, I mean by
Well,
code.
By code.
By code, yeah.
Oh,
When did you post when was this posted on the site?
He said it hadn't been posted yet.
No,
And
no.
you're unsure, Benjamin, of when it needs to be posted by in order to conform to code. There's no specifications. I don't know. Natalie, do you have any input in terms of when typically public notice on-site signage needs to be posted prior to a public hearing?
I'm reading the notification requirements for a major site development plan, which this is part of. The public hearing, I'm going to just read it to you. The 200-foot notices is 7 days prior to the meeting. Between 4 and 20 days are required. It says sign posted the Friday before the meeting for the P&Z Commission and for the City Council. So the sign would have had to have gone out last Friday, technically.
I think that's just our standard practice, though. That isn't
Right. Yeah, it's not in the code. It's just the standard practice. So there's nothing in the code that says the sign has to be out at any particular time. The 200-foot notices went out. It was published on the website and it was posted at City Hall. So as far as the code is concerned, I think we've covered that base. It's just the physical sign was not out prior to tonight's meeting. but it would still be, I mean, if you went ahead and had the meeting, and this is all new to me, so I could be completely off, but if we went ahead and had the meeting tonight, we should be able to go ahead with city council if the sign gets out.
Natalie,
Yeah.
for purposes of the mailing, those have to go out in advance though, right?
The mailing went out last Wednesday. So on the 8th. So the 200-foot notice mailing went out last Wednesday.
With this date on it.
Correct.
I'm just
Which
thinking,
means if we were to move this meeting or this hearing to a later date, you would need to redo your mailings as well.
Yes.
That's correct.
that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Oh,
The problem is that we don't
I don't.
want
I
to actually do the meeting if it's not going to be kosher with the code and everything.
Natalie, I'm wondering though, since this still needs to go to council, whether or not we could proceed with the public hearing and just note that the sign needs to go up
Yeah.
for the council meeting. Is that something that staff potentially could support? Just in terms of all the other notices that went out per code to notify the public. And obviously the signage, was one minor miss. But obviously, since this still needs to go to council for final approval, does city staff feel that it's possible to still, have input from the public if the sign were to go up for the council public hearing?
I don't have enough history, Ruth, doing this to know that fact. But if the code doesn't give a specific date and time that the physical sign has to be out, there wouldn't be anything we would be doing against code. If you do not have that if you do not have the meeting tonight, though, it probably is not going to go to council, next week, or on the 28th, simply because you'd have to rehold the meeting, you have to renotice, so you wouldn't be able to have your meeting on a Wednesday because the notices have to go out 7 days prior to the meeting. So those things are by code and by public notice. So, it's kind of a Kelly call, and Kelly's not here till Monday. So,
But can we get input from the lawyer? Who is it, Gatlin? That's the lawyer on the city council.
I don't know anyone by that name.
Yeah, this is Anu here again. I hesitate to pick a date or to have staff hold the meeting or not, one way or the other, without getting feedback from either the city legal department, or from Kelly, either way. I know because sometimes, and I'm not sure how this is addressed in the code here, but in most cases, you need to have your complete notification, your mailings, your on-site notice, and any other publications if they are needed in newspapers or whatever other medium. Typically, you need to meet all of them to qualify as a complete public notice.
That's why if you don't hold the meeting tonight, a memo would have to go to the clerk tomorrow for your decision to get on the city council for the 28th.
This is
That's
Carol.
what I'm saying. I'm not sure I can take that call. That is
Right.
a staff and a legal
Right.
call.
Right.
Yeah. This is Mike Clayton. Since we've already met all of the other requirements and we have the representatives of the development here tonight, and we seem to have fulfilled all of the other requirements except for the sign, would it make sense to, and we need to, in order to get it on the 28th, assuming we go ahead tonight and that's okay, would it make sense to go ahead and have our hearing tonight, listen to the the developers and go ahead and take action. And then tomorrow, when staff talks with the city attorney, then if we need to get back together again, we can at that time.
This is Doug. That makes sense to me. I mean, that doesn't make sense to, if we need to meet again, then we do.
Yeah. If we do need to meet again, all the notices are going to have to go out again anyway.
Yeah.
How soon will the staff have the sign up?
After this meeting.
Okay.
We do have another issue. I don't think we're broadcasting on Channel 12 either.
We are not.
Yeah, we are. Oh, I see it up.
No,
I don't.
I don't mind. I have the sound turned off, but I just have a 1 moment, please sign on it.
I just have black screen.
I have each of your names rotating through as you're speaking.
Our media predictions is on here as well. I'm assuming they're listening. If something needs to be corrected, they can address that.
This is Carol. I hate to be a spoil sport, but I'm really uncomfortable going ahead if we have not touched all the bases. And I know that it means additional mailing and notification. But I certainly don't want to cause any kind of disruption or confusion on this request. And I think it might be better to delay it and do it exactly per standard procedure than to take a risk that would put this project in any kind of a risk. I think it might be better to delay.
I
This
agree.
is Ruth Holstrom. I was going to say, I agree with Carol as well. I do think, unfortunately, since we don't have input from either city legal or Kelly on prior projects that may have undergone similar situations, that I would feel much more comfortable waiting and resending essentially notices and doing all the other necessary things to suit code essentially for this.
Tim Garden was who I was, the person who I was trying to think of.
Yes.
I think the point that Commissioners Clayton and Regula were making was that proceeding tonight, and then if it has to be voided, essentially, it has to be voided. It doesn't hurt anything if we discuss, first thing tomorrow, discuss with our attorneys whether or not we can proceed as usual. Did I summarize that correctly?
Yes.
Yes.
Benjamin, this is Steve Bergeson, and
Yes.
I'd just like to ask, what are the implications of this on our timetable? Because we have to have a good, clear communication with Fairway on what's happened, because we owe them some sort of sense of timetable on this. So what would this put us out before we can get before the city council on this?
I'm looking at my calendar now. It would push you back to the 11th
Of
August.
And Benjamin, this is Greg Broussard. That's just for preliminary plat and site plan approval, right? That would not be for final plat. So then council would push to the next council meeting after that at a minimum for final plat.
I believe that is correct. Yes.
So Steve, that'd be the 25th.
Yes.
So is it possible, Benjamin, to get a letter to Fairway just explaining the timetable so they have a clear picture of it? Because obviously we're feeling some obligation to them for what happened.
No, I understand. Yes, I would definitely write a letter. I could do that and have it to you ASAP.
That'd be great. Greg, does that sound good to you?
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure on what your purchase agreement says, Steve. So that's on your side. Kind of the question on what you need for your purchase agreement.
I'll check that tomorrow, but you know, they've been more than gracious, but I just feel like it's important to get a good clear communication from this why we're delayed.
Are there any other thoughts from additional commission members?
I agree with what you and Ruth were talking about. I'm a little hesitant to go forward with this without all the T's crossed and I's dotted.
Yeah, this is Ruth Holstrom. I'd be even hesitant to hold the public hearing tonight without knowing what the legal implications of that, even if tomorrow we were to consult with the legal team and they say it's, you know, it's obviously everything is fine with the rezoning signage. Just because I don't know what the legal implications might be if we decide to hold a public hearing, even though, you know, notices weren't properly completed. So I guess I don't know without having, I guess, Kelly or legal staff available to make that decision in terms of what I feel like I'd be comfortable with.
I'm fine with waiting too. It sounds like the developers are okay with moving everything back one council meeting.
Again, as long as we have clear communication with Fairway and agree to write a letter explaining what's happened, I think that would be certainly, I think it seems like it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Make sure you include Steve Bergeson also.
Yeah, thank you.
I would, at this point, unless there are additional comments, I would be open to to motion on this and to take a formal action.
One other question. Are we going to meet early?
Is there, Benjamin, is there need for us to meet early, or will our standard first Wednesday of August be adequate?
Well, we've got July has 5 Wednesdays in it. Meeting on the 29th would put us 2 weeks before the August 11th council meeting, which is the first council meeting in August. That is the 2 weeks is what we traditionally have. 2 weeks would be great, but it's obviously up to you.
What she was saying was the standard meeting for the planning and zoning is the first and third.
We wouldn't normally meet on that 5th Wednesday.
That is correct. You would not. Mm-hmm.
So if we met the first Wednesday, which is our normal meeting time, that should be adequate to have things done for the first council meeting? That's my question.
I will verify with the city clerk's office and make sure, but I believe it should, since we will have all of the staff reports and all of the material that we will be handing to the council members should ordinarily be completed. I will verify with the clerk that we can still get, you know, the one thing that would be then kind of rushed would just be the commission's recommendation as a part of that.
My understanding, that's our normal timeline, is my understanding.
Correct.
Is if we approve something to go on to council, then it goes at the next standing council meeting.
Okay.
That's how we traditionally done it, is my understanding.
Okay, thank you. This is my, as you know, this is my first planning commission.
Well,
I'm getting off to a great start with all of you.
We just
deeply missing you all, I'm sure.
And we also just need to know that all the signage and contact to the public are done before the next scheduled meeting.
Sure, that are handled appropriately. Yes.
Right.
With that in mind, do we have a motion?
Can I interject for just one moment?
Certainly, Natalie.
Okay, so tonight you were supposed to talk about the integrated site plan, and it was going on the July 28th, which is almost 2 weeks. So if you meet on the 5th, you would not have enough time to get it on the council meeting on the 11th.
Does it need 2 weeks?
Close.
Yes, it does, Benjamin. This is Greg.
You need 2
Okay.
weeks, yes.
Thank you, Greg.
I'm assuming, Natalie, this is Ruth Holstrom. They also need to send out public notices for the council meeting
That is-
Correct.
as well.
Oh,
that is
Okay. Okay.
so that really puts us in the spot of needing to have a meeting
before,
like the week before,
correct.
like the third Wednesday.
Well,
We can't get the notices out in time.
You'd either have to meet not on a Wednesday, or you'd have to meet the 29th would give you the 2 weeks for the same approximate time that you normally would have. It would just be off schedule.
Okay, I see. This is Ruth Holstrom. I'm comfortable with the idea of making myself available for Wednesday, July 29th for a special, scheduled meeting to obviously review and hold the public hearing for this project. What's everyone else's thoughts?
Yeah, as long as it's the only agenda item.
Yeah, this is Clayton. I'm good with that. And maybe we can just kind of leave it at the discretion of the planning and zoning staff if we need to do it something maybe even a little bit sooner than that. But yeah, the 29th would be fine with me.
Well, yeah. And does that work with the developer and the customer?
Yes.
Yes, it does. And thank you for being flexible on this.
Mrs. Hill, the 29th will work for me. Ruth, what about you?
No, I'm fine with that. I just wanted to ask Benjamin about his schedule, what that looks like for that Wednesday evening.
I'm declaring whatever I'm doing that night canceled.
Newt, how about you?
I can make it.
Okay. In that case, let's have a motion, or I would welcome a motion.
So
This is
sorry
Ruth Holstrom.
do we need to first have some sort of a motion or have a separate motion to hold the additional meeting as well? Because it's out of the norm?
I think they could probably be wrapped into the same motion.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking too. This is Ruth Holstrom. I was going to make a motion. So I will go ahead and make a motion to hold a special meeting on July 29th, 2020, to hold the public hearing for the integrated site plan for 3619 Stang Road.
Do I have a second?
Second. This is Doug.
Okay. I have a motion and I have a second to not hold the public hearing this evening for integrated site plan for 3619 Stang Road, and instead move that to a called meeting on the 29th of July. Do I, all those in favor signify by saying aye?
Hey, Carol, sorry, can I add to that a time? Should we also add the 7 p.m.
The 7
time?
p.m.
Similar
our
to,
standard time. That's a good idea.
okay, perfect.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay. Our apologies to our developer, to our clients. This is awkward, but we will make certain that we follow up and we're well prepared on the 29th to deal with your project.
No, and listen, from our hearts to yours, we just appreciate all your efforts, and let's just put all this under coronavirus 101 and 102. Thank you for your help.
We are learning as we go along, aren't we? We appreciate your patience with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Then let's move on. The only other items we have on the agenda would be commission comments. Any commissioners have comments this evening?
Number 7 still.
Well, virtual meeting discussion. I thought that followed up on the integrated plan side. Tell me what that is about, Jonathan. Benjamin, excuse me.
Benjamin.
No problem. That refers to the city council deferred to all of the boards and commissions as to whether or not they would prefer to keep meeting virtually via Zoom. The council voted to continue their body meeting virtually via Zoom, but they left it to the individual boards and commissions because technically we were supposed to resume in-person meetings this month. Planning staff made the executive decision to just go ahead and continue this particular meeting with Zoom until we could hear from you all.
What do you mean technically? She said we technically should be meeting in person. What do you
That
mean
is what
by that?
the council had initially several months ago said that they wanted to resume all in-person meetings in the month of July, but they held a special meeting and last week and decided that they wanted to continue meeting via Zoom.
But to leave that in-person meeting option open to other commissions, is that correct?
To the individual boards and commissions, correct.
What are thoughts of the commissioners?
I think we should still be meeting on Zoom.
This is Ruth Holstrom. I agree. I prefer Zoom right now, at least until things kind of, I guess, balance out a little bit.
This is Anuya. I prefer to be in online or the Zoom meetings as well.
Yep. Mike Clayton, yeah, Zoom meetings are fine.
Doug, what about you?
Well, me personally, I'd be fine with in person, but I mean, I'm capable of doing either. So
yeah, I prefer the Zoom, I guess. I don't prefer the meeting, but I think it's probably the wisest thing for us to do. So do we need to have a motion on this, Benjamin?
I think it'd probably be best just for clarity's sake.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we continue with Zoom meetings until further notice.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to maintain our meetings via Zoom until further notice. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? That passes. So you've got that, Benjamin. I'm sorry I skipped that one.
No problem. It's not usually on there.
No, I was confused. That happens. Commission comments. Any commissioners have anything that you'd like to share with the group?
this is Doug. I tell Benjamin not to worry about it. We all make mistakes, and you probably won't make the same one ever again.
I hope not.
Yeah, welcome, Benjamin. We're happy to have you. So again, it's it's definitely something that you shouldn't carry too heavily on yourself. Things happen. So obviously the applicant developer was very understanding.
Thank you all for being gracious.
We've all been there.
Yep.
I think you should bring Dairy Queen for the next in-person meeting, though.
I did work at Dairy Queen one summer, so I do know how to make a blizzard and make a little curly Q on the top of ice cream.
All right.
Okay, any other commissioner comments? In that case, Benjamin, do you have any closing staff comments?
I do not.
Okay. I would welcome a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We are
Seconded.
Holstrom.
Yes, Ruth?
I was just going to say I second the motion to
All
adjourn.
right, good. Thank you. We are adjourned. Benjamin, welcome. We're glad to be